just from 1 minute of the 1 hour video that I've watched from you, I've got back 2 hours of my time, and I've now got time to pray in the morning. It seemed like I was never getting to the point where those things could get done because the time never existed, despite me spending 7 days a week at the place for work.
What would the Prophet say about us burning our bodies and our lives to make more money?
I've sacrificed time with the family, time for my health, and I've not achieved anything.
People don't talk about what suffers when you put it all to the side just to scale a business. And you know what the most annoyingest part about all of this is to me? It doesn't even have to be that way.
Correct.
And it's not even the best way for it to be done. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Tousif.
Assalam.
How you doing, bro?
I'm good, brother. How are you?
Alhamdulillah. Guys, if you don't know Tousif, which is likely you don't, he's a ghost. Tousif is one of our LBD clients, and I say that very proudly, alhamdulillah. And he's come to visit us, walillah, alhamdulillah, in Dubai, spend some time out. And I really wanted to get him for a podcast because, you know, in truth, I always tell people these episodes aren't about bragging about revenue and, you know, the success clients have had, but it's to show the inside and the difference in one's life with LBD and without LBD. So before we even go into talking about the crazy results, Allah barik, which you've had, and I ask Allah to grant you tawfiq and to grant you more, please paint me what a week in your life would look like pre-LBD. Let's start there.
Pre-LBD, pretty easy. A lot of it was work. 90-80% was work. There wasn't much time for social life. There wasn't much time for family. I was working, looking back, from Monday to Sunday pretty much, most days. From 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. average day. Some going gym in the morning, family time between 5 and 7, and then pretty much watching a bit of YouTube before bed, you know, an hour or two, and then 9 o'clock and it's time to go to bed, and I'm up at 5 and the gym again, and that's it, over and over again.
Okay, just even let's give perspective, right? Because that might sound okay to maybe some people.
Yes.
Let's give perspective. You're a CEO, okay? And if you want to break down your company and what you guys do.
Yeah, we're an e-commerce store focusing in the household products. We sell across multiple channels in the UK marketplace.
And tell me, in terms of you being the leader and the CEO, let's talk about the negatives and the problems that your lifestyle caused, the way you were living.
There wasn't much balance in anything. There wasn't much time for spiritual health, much time for prayer. There wasn't any prioritization. There wasn't enough quality time with the family. There wasn't much social time. There wasn't time for myself. There wasn't much time for anything else other than work at the time anyway.
SubhanAllah. You know, I actually remember our call together, the first call we ever got on, where, you know, we're breaking down your situations and, you know, I'm asking you, okay, score your health out of 5 right now, your development out of 5.
Yes.
I don't know if you remember that conversation. It was quite an interesting one. And I remember everything was just, again, 2 or less, right? I think there was 1 3 in there overall, but it was just a subpar, right? And I was asking you, okay, like, do you feel like with all this work, are you even moving the needle in your business? Are things growing? And, you know, it was the response you gave me was funny. It's like, well, no, but like, you know, like these things have to get done.
Yes.
Right. And how was that for you in terms of like knowing that there was another side? And this is the problem we always talk about our clients. All of our clients aren't people who aren't successful or people who are just beginning. These are individuals who are very successful. I mean, everyone who looks at them is probably thinking, I wish I had a life like you, right? I wish I had a business like you. But internally, there's that dissonance because they know they could be operating at a far higher level. Was that a pain you had?
For sure. There was many times, you know, I'm thinking there's so many things I want to do with the business in terms of grow it. So many ideas that would come, you know, from these moments where you're an entrepreneur, 9 p.m. at night and ideas are just flowing, right? But it seemed like I was never getting to the point where those things could get done because the time never existed, despite me spending 7 days a week at the place for work, doing 10 hours. But still the things that I want to do to grow the business are not occurring. It was a frustration almost because I was thinking foolishly back then, how can I optimize further to be able to do these things that are going to grow my business? And I was thinking, I can have my dinner at 5, I can see my kid for about an hour, and I'll come back to work. I was thinking in terms of more time. I wasn't thinking in terms of less time in the business to grow the business. And with the lack of information at the time, that's what the answer was. That's what I thought it was until I've got the information that I do now, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Yeah, this is actually a fake productivity cycle I see entrepreneurs living, right? They're trying to optimize things that shouldn't even be there in the first place. Yes. You know, so he starts to, you know, trim things out of his life, and he thinks that, okay, this will give me more time to work on the business, and that's going to cause more time to scale. And it's funny because, like, when I clarify to people, I remember I was sitting across a CEO, big CEO in Morocco, right? And I was explaining the LBD process to him. You know, he's asking me questions. I'm like, yeah, our clients work less and they make more. And just that line, he wouldn't let me get away with it. He goes, that's not possible. He goes, that makes no sense. He goes, I'm trying to find more time to work so we can make more money. What do you mean work less and make? How does that make any sense for us? Work less and make more. Because this is a cycle we see, right? Everyone's optimizing and trying to prioritize, what? How can I get more hours to spend on the business? But in fact, the more hours they add don't seem to be pushing the needle, right? And when we look at the quality of tasks that are being done, these are tasks that aren't suitable for a CEO, quite frankly, right? So let's talk about the leap, right? When you actually chose to make the decision and be like, you know what? I'm going to jump into LBD. What was that like for you?
It was a 6 to 8 week process. Let me talk you through it. I was in Dubai at the time. It was May. I thought, let me get back to the business. When I get back, I'm going to have a 1 week holiday and I want to go hard. I want to double the profit figure. And I had a bunch of savings at the point. I thought, let me go all in. Let me go in on myself, right? Let me put everything I've got and go into the business. And I set a target of 6 weeks. Let me hit this profit number, double the profit that I'm currently doing with the business. Alhamdulillah, within 6 weeks, I achieved it.
Alhamdulillah.
But that feeling, that success, within a minute, it was gone. Like I've been working towards this number for 6 weeks, like hard, every single day, pushing the team, pushing myself, pushing everybody, like in every capacity, putting the foot down, right? And after those 6 weeks, that feeling came for the minute, and I was just thinking, I've sacrificed time with the family. I've sacrificed time for my health even, because I'm missing gym on some days. I'm obviously not making time for prayer at the time as well. And I've not achieved anything. Like I've got this feeling, which I had for a minute, and it's gone. But I've sacrificed all this just to have this one little feeling for a minute. Like, what's the point? And at that point, I realized it was good timing, if anything, because I was watching your content, and you were saying stuff like a CEO should be working 60 hours a week. And at the time, I didn't believe anything else. But then as I went through your content and I went through a bunch of things that you shared, which we can discuss as well in your videos, I thought, I need to give it a go. I need to make the investment. I've never done anything online before. I've never purchased an online product. But if I can achieve this with chaos, what can I do with some direction? So that's why I ended up making the leap and just booking the introductory call with Muhammad for LBD.
What was that final piece of content, if you can remember, that actually made you be like, you know what?
You know what? It was this, I remember very vividly. It was the content where you were discussing escapism. It was a full 1 hour video. And it was the first full 1 hour video I watched of yourself. And I think it was Muhammad in the video. Yeah. And you said, in the whole 1 hour video, I took something very specific in that 30 seconds, which was, if you scroll for 2 hours a day, that's 30 consecutive days a year. And I'm a numbers guy. Right, that for me just landed perfectly, because that's what I was doing. I would finish work, finish family time, finish dinner. Between 7 and 9, I'd be scrolling, watching videos, random YouTube videos. It's not like I'm searching. I'm just going from loop to loop for 2 hours, and it puts me to bed. I'm done. And I realized from that information that you gave, I'm wasting my life. Like literally, I'm not getting a break. I don't feel refreshed after 2 hours of watching YouTube. I feel objectively worse. And yeah, that was a point for me. That was a turning point where I thought, okay, let me cut it out. Let me cut out the 2 hours that I'm currently scrolling with intention. And I did. I deleted, I made my phone black and white. So even if I watch a video, it's not fun, right? I stopped turning the TV on at home. And that had benefits for the family as well, not just for me, for everyone. And then when I saw the benefit of my life and how much more time I had in the evening, even though it was always there, I was just wasting it, not realizing I was in a habit almost, right? And from that point, I thought there's value in this, because just from 1 minute of the 1 hour video that I watched from you, I've got back 2 hours of my time, and I've now got time to pray in the morning. So I thought, let me go for it. Let me try it. Let me see how it goes.
No one talks about the hidden costs, bro, of success. Even just jumping back on the first point before I address this one. No one talks about the hidden costs of success. And this is actually one of the reasons, you know, it actually kind of gets me emotional. This is one of the reasons I started LBD, bro. Because no one understands, very few people understand what it actually feels like to technically be successful, but still be a failure at the same time. Like very few people will actually understand that statement. Like externally, you are successful. Everybody, like I mentioned, wants to be in your shoes, but internally, you know, you flopped. Like, you know, this feels like failure. How can one achieve success on paper, but internally still feel like failure? And these are the hidden costs. People don't talk about what suffers when you put it all to the side just to scale a business, right? How your relationships suffer, you know, the relationships deteriorate over time. Time lost that you can't get back. Your deen, which is the most important thing, which is fundamentally the reason we're on this bloody earth, right? How it suffers, how it takes a backseat, how it's negatively affected. Even when we are praying, there's no khushu in the salah, there's no concentration. All for this goal. Health takes a backseat. Everything to achieve this goal. And you know what the most annoyingest part about all of this is, Tousif, to me? It doesn't even have to be that way.
Correct.
And it's not even the best way for it to be done, right? And you know that's actually what gave birth to the Live by Design. This exact thing of, you know, technically I'm winning, but internally I'm failing. There's so many things, and I know I could be winning more had I been more efficient and more optimized in certain elements in my own life, because barakah is a huge factor. It's not just about chasing more revenue. Barakah is a huge thing, right? Actually making sure that there's blessing in your time, that there's blessing in the money, right? Which comes from making sure all the other areas of your life are good. The Prophet ﷺ mentions, for example, about the body, فَإِنَّ لِجَسَدَكَ عَلَيْكَ حَقٍّ. Your body has a right over you, right? He mentions your family has a right over you. So ignoring and placing all these things on a back seat to get on revenue is the exact opposite way to get barakah. If the Prophet ﷺ, and this is what absolutely blew my mind, bro. If the Prophet ﷺ was correcting a Sahaba, right, one of his companions, for worshipping too much, and he told them in this hadith, like, you know, your body has a right over you, your family has a right over you, and he's correcting him, what would the Prophet ﷺ say about us burning our bodies and our lives to make more money?
For numbers on the
more
screen.
revenue. Yeah.
And
we can say it's ibadah all we like. Sure, we can say we do this for the sake of Allah, even though we put Allah on the back seat, right? We put our deen, on the back seat. But in truth, the hadith was about ibadah itself, like direct to ibadah.
Yes.
Direct worship. And he was still being what? Corrected. So that really made me like think, like, what are you doing here? You know? And the second thing you mentioned there that's really important, that I think we really have to bring mention to, is time. And by the way, I think I've talked to you about it. Do you know why entrepreneurs actually scroll for these 2 hours at night time?
No.
Their minds are fried the whole day. They've been doing so much the whole day that they can't make any wise decisions at night time when it comes to those last 2 hours in the night. It's like your brain is that fried, it's just begging for some sense of like, and that's why we just get trapped in that motion.
Yeah.
Right? Improper rest, not aligning ourselves with our biology, overstimulation, so many things, and then we just get like, you know, sometimes I'm telling you, bro, I've sat across from massive CEOs and he's not even there.
Yeah.
Like he's not there.
Yeah.
Like you're actually speaking to him.
Yeah.
And he mentally is not there. Right? Fatigue, etc. SubhanAllah. So look, I want to really understand this, right? What was your biggest frustration out of everything prior to joining the Live by Design? What would you say this, Fawaz, was my number one frustration?
I think going back to what I said earlier, the biggest frustration for me was having ideas, but not the time or the ability to implement them. Because I'd get frustrated, like thinking I had this idea and now it's bloody gone, right? Because I've been so busy trying to work and in the business and doing these little tiny tasks that I shouldn't be doing in the first place. The idea fizzled out. And what could it have been, right? What if I had followed through and maybe even done some journaling or some exploration in terms of what that was about.
Okay, but I'm going to be cheeky here. Why not invest in ads, more more marketing?
Yeah.
Or more sales?
Yeah.
Why not? Why LBD?
I needed something different. I tried going down the route of more ads. And the revenue grew brilliant. And going back to the initial point, my revenue was higher, my profit was higher, everything was higher in terms of the numbers side, right? Profit was great, revenues were great. Looking at the company from just the numbers perspective, amazing. Looking at the team, looking at me, looking at spiritually, looking at everything else, it was falling apart. It was barely surviving. It was just the face of it that looked like success. And that's what kind of led me to wanting to look long term, not just month to month. Yeah.
And how much guilt did guilt actually play in the decision of actually purchasing this program? Did you feel guilty in a sense that there's certain things you're just not doing up to standard right now?
I think a lot of it was just a lack of knowledge in every sense of the way. I needed direction, and I had an idea of what I was lacking in, and a lot of it, going back to the points that we do through LBD, is the executive performance and strategic performance. And I knew for a fact, absolute fact, this is one of the key points that I'm lacking in. And I had no other information points to go to. You got the internet, you got YouTube, of course, but there's so many mixed messages. One guy will tell you this, one guy will tell you next thing. So for me, I needed kind of one key consistent point where I could cover everything from the Deen aspect or the business aspect or even the time after work, and what do I do with that? And having the conversation with you about LBD and how it covered everything, it was a holistic approach. And that's what I was looking for. I wasn't just looking for optimization through work. I was looking for everything.
And what finally pushed you to actually just join?
It felt quite authentic to go for it naturally, because I thought, let me just see what the call's like. Let me just put my name in, put the email in, put the number in. Let's have a conversation and see how it feels. And it felt like the right thing to do at the time. And worst case scenario, I was just thinking, I'll make it back in a few weeks, right? Worst case scenario. But let me give it a go, because I've seen what these few weeks look like anyway. Let me see what life could look like if I put the X amount into this and try this other way of living or other way of business or the way of living by design.
Was there a process where after you made the payment, whatever, where we call it buyer's remorse?
Yes. So initially, I think from the point I put the deposit down, I said, give me 2 weeks. I'll put the deposit down, I'll lock in, I'll do it. But give me 2 weeks before we fully get started. And I was thinking, it's a big chunk. Monkey brain kind of kicks in, right? Thinking I could have done this with the money, I could have done this, what if it's a scam, XYZ. But going back to why I even did it in the first place, my problem is a long-term problem, not a short-term problem. So I've got to think long-term when it comes to these things. That's what kind of kept me steadfast in that thinking to continue and actually start the LBD course.
And let's talk about some breakthroughs. What were some of the biggest breakthroughs with the program that you experienced?
Just having accountability of where my time's going and having a record. It didn't just help the business aspect, but it helped my sleep even. Because I'd look at why I was having certain days of poor sleep, and I could see I watched maybe a YouTube video at 6:30 to 7, or maybe I logged into my laptop at 7 p.m. and the numbers are still in my brain, so it's keeping me awake. So the next day, because I can see I did that at 7, I pushed that back to a 5 or a 4 or a 2 o'clock instead. And it allowed me to audit myself objectively without having the emotions attached to it, because we forget about the pains very quickly. If we had a poor sleep on Monday and it's Friday, you're going to forget about it, right? Time passes. But having that,
still there.
Exactly, the reference is still there. You can review it. We do the weekly review as well, and you can see, because you forget. Like I said, Monday I had a terrible day, but I will completely forget about it until I look on Sunday and I look at the notes on Monday. I don't want to do that again.
This is the 360 audit you're referring to, right?
Correct.
So the 360 audit is a key part of the LBD. We always say we can't LBD without the 360 audit, but it's not even the main part. But how much, in terms of the 360 audit, how amazing was it for you? Considering it's not even the main part and it's just the first stage one,
Yes, one of the best things, and it's such a simple thing. It's such a simple tool, right? And having the different segments where it's kind of shrink, maintenance and growth really puts the accountability on you in terms of where your time is going. Because initially, when we were having the conversations, I think in our first audit or two, I was
came with everything growth.
I wasn't honest with myself, right? Because you said, when you see the red shrinks on your audit, it opens something else up in your mind in terms of I need to address this. And sometimes we're just on a soft life. So you know what? It's a maintenance. It's not a shrink. I can work with an orange, but a red I don't want. So that's what happened the first week. Literally that. And then
I can't tell you how many admin and operations I remember seeing on that doc. I was just like, whoa, buddy. Go back and do this again. Just admin, ops. And it was just plastered the first week, subhanAllah.
But having that conversation and having that person there to make you accountable on where your time is going was one of the most important things as well, I think, with LBD, for sure.
Alhamdulillah. May Allah bless you, bro. Then the next stage, of course, is the design, which is the heart of the program, of course, to where we design you your operating system. Alhamdulillah, we're still in the midst of it, of course. But how have you found?
If you look at it kind of from the outside, you think it's a bunch of fluff, right? You think, let me get back to making money, right? But it gave me the clarity on what I want to actually do and where I want to focus and what my long-term priorities are. Because you can get blurred very quickly chasing numbers, revenue, to thinking what your actual goal is. You might be thinking, oh yeah, you know, the target I've got is hitting X amount per month, or moving my family to this house and buying this car. But deep down, if you were to take that, you know, the blurred vision away and the distractions away, that isn't actually what you'd want. And the time allowed me to focus on what it is that I'm optimizing for, so I could work towards them. And one of the benefits I had was, you know, there's other interests outside of the business that I was working on. And once I'd done the POS and the vision aspect in terms of where I want to be in 12 months' time, because that's a very important question. Where do you want to be in 12 months' time? Like, where do you want your child to be? Where do you want your wife to be? Where do you want to be? What does it look like? And it's quite an interesting exercise because it goes through the different motions in terms of what does that look like? What are you doing in 12 months' time? Paint a picture almost. Then you look at, okay, that's where I want to be in 12 months' time. How is what I'm doing here outside of business related to that 12-month goal? So let me get rid of it. But it takes time to get to that point. So yeah, there's many benefits.
There's a funny period in all of our clients' lives. It almost happens with every client, where they jump on a Zoom call with me and they say, what am I supposed to do with all these white boxes? In my calendar. How was that for you? You know, going from you working like you mentioned, 10 hours, 70 days a week, right? Chief executive slave, as I like to describe it as, to going to now a CEO where you're only working on the high impact things. You know, I'm sure you remember the call. How was that for you, being like, have so much time?
You know what? It's still a bit of a shock because it's so recent, right? We're talking the past 4, 5, 6 weeks, because I'm currently week 8 or 9 into LBD, so it's still quite fresh. But it kind of puts a smile on your face. It's like, what am I doing? I'm sat in a cafe at 2 in the afternoon or 1 in the afternoon. I'm just, you know, what am I doing? Like, this isn't me or what I've been used to. Almost like a free slave. Right, that's what I've got to say. Right, all this freedom. I don't know where to go, what to do, or who to see. Ringing random friends and having conversations. And before it was all just work. Work. So alhamdulillah, life's very different now. It reminded me of why I got into business initially. And that wasn't just chasing numbers, but it was kind of doing the work behind the scenes as a CEO, in terms of strategies and trying to, you know, monitor customer behavior and increase basket conversion data and all these extra things, not being on the ground and packing boxes or doing X, Y, Z. And because of that, I've naturally had more fulfillment in terms of the work I'm doing as well. And dopamine, right? Because I'm getting joy out of achieving success through minimal work, but still I'm driving the business much more forward compared to where it was previously. With the 70 hours that I was doing, 60 hours, all I need now is 10 hours. That's it.
So just to clarify for the viewers.
Please.
You're working significantly less.
Yes.
Profit is much more.
Yes. Yes.
And the growth of the company is massive now. Alhamdulillah,
we're growing.
While working less.
Yes.
Okay. You know, sometimes they don't understand it. So we have to.
And this is the thing. I wasn't initially optimizing for more money. I wasn't optimizing for more profit. I was just optimizing for a better quality of life. And for me, that's the priority, and that's what I've got. I'm happy with that.
That's the number one thing.
Yes.
Right. And alhamdulillah, look, one thing, guys, I have to be honest. I know you guys probably hear us talk about the revenue goals and stuff our clients achieve. It's not even our main goal. It's something that just happens in of itself, alhamdulillah. Like you said, it's technically, it wasn't even what you were optimizing for at the highest level. Maybe it wasn't number one on your list, but it happened, right? And this is the truth of what happens. It's like, that's the philosophy at LBD. It's that higher quality while still winning in business, while still achieving what you want to get done in business. You still get it done while still winning, right? In your life, the quality of life is better. So I want to take it step by step in all the different five, the 5 systems of you. Okay, let's start health. Health-wise, how has your health improved since LBD?
Health has improved. So to be fair, I was doing quite well in health anyway initially. That was one habit I'm glad I kept, and I had initially, and I've been building that for 2 or 3 years at least. But what's been added to that is having more time for kind of social activities in terms of sport in the evening, especially. Before I was just completely drained, knackered. The idea of playing badminton or doing anything in the evening, right, it would just seem foreign to me, and it wasn't possible because I was just physically drained. I just wanted to sit, eat, watch a bit of YouTube and go bed, right? Now I've got this energy, like the day's done, it's 4 or 5 o'clock and I'm full of energy still, right? I'm not drained at all. So now I've got the time to do those additional things in terms of the sport.
Okay, type relationships.
Amazing. I think more importantly with the team, just between LBD and also books I've been reading, just understanding people a bit more, the different buckets. I'd highly recommend anyone to read Surrounded by Idiots. It definitely changed my life in terms of the way I view people, and I think it can do for you too as well. There's less resentment. Like, why is this person not working harder? Why the bloody hell has he done that when I've told him this is how to do things 3 times? And going on to SOPs after that, we can discuss as well. It's just changed everything for sure. In terms of where my mind is now compared to 2 months ago, I'm a different person mentally. Like in terms of, I feel like I am more who I wanted to be when I was younger, or maybe a few years ago, before you get trapped into the idea of chasing money or working 7-6 days a week or whatever. I'm actually doing the things and adding value to myself as an individual. A lot more compared to what I was before. The things I'm able to do now, or the things I can execute on, the confidence I have in myself compared to 2 months ago is a lot more.
Let's talk about the most important one, of course, your Deen.
Deen's amazing, alhamdulillah. I wasn't practicing much prior. I'm currently doing 5 times a day. For some people that's a standard. For me, that's like an achievement, because I've never been at that stage before. I've been Umrah multiple times. You get into the rhythm of it there, you come back and it starts to fizzle out as you develop you go back into the life of being in the West. And now it's a discipline almost, like it has to be done. This is like one of the things that we do in the calendar is making sure that your salah is marked first before any activity. Alhamdulillah. Before the work, before the driving or this or that, the first thing is you do your salah and you mark that. So it's the foundations of what we work on in LBD. So alhamdulillah, it's been very good. Alhamdulillah.
And there was something obviously key as well that you mentioned there. When we had this conversation on Sunday, you said some of these principles now you actually preach them to the people around you, and you're like, listen,
yeah.
You need to follow this.
For sure.
What are some of those key principles that you took by LBD that now you live by and you preach?
The biggest one is controlling your inputs. So you can maximize your outputs. So to break that down from the high level words is, the first 2 hours in the morning and the last 2 hours in the evening, I try to control as much as possible in terms of what I'm taking in, especially the morning. Like even if I'm going to the gym, if the music's on, I put the headset on with my headphones on, put the noise cancelling and just block out the sound. If I'm walking past the TV in the gym, sports on, I'm looking down. Gaze is down, right? The point is, there's so many ways to be distracted. There's so many ways, like we mentioned earlier, driving to work, there'll be 100 billboards in the way, and seeing what they're about, or putting the radio on, or smoking, or what anyone does. Controlling those inputs so you can truly think about what it is you want to do, and then implementing journaling / reflection in that as well. Every morning, which I've been doing. I'm missing the odd day, but when I miss the day, it feels weird almost. Like I feel there's a bunch of thoughts in my head and they're scrambled.
We have to dissect this reflection thing, because every time I tell CEOs about it, they look at me like I have 10 heads.
Yes.
How was that when I first told you, listen, go away?
Yeah.
What was the thoughts in your mind?
Look, it was very simple, right? As in, just go do this little activity for 10 minutes. Sit with a notepad before the day starts in the morning, after Fajr Salah ideally, and just see how it goes. And looking from the outside in, it just seems like a bit of fluff, to be honest with you, because it sounds like a bit of fluff, right? But when you implement it and you do it consistently, and that's the key, maybe in the first 2 or 3 sessions, you're not going to get much value out of it. But with anything in life, you've got to go through that friction period in the beginning and continue with it, and then the value comes and compounds as time goes on.
Allah barik, 100%. And if you could speak to old Tousif before living by design,
Yes.
what would you tell him?
I'd say join LBD sooner, right? Stop wasting the time. I think one of the key things that I was thinking about to compare it to on a smaller scale is if your car is to break down, you're not going to spend 12 hours trying to fix it. You're going to go to the bloody mechanic and you're going to get the guy's advice, and within 10 minutes, 20 minutes, it's done. Why not do the same thing for you and your business? Like the biggest resource you've got is your time, and you're wasting it on doing these minor activities. And look, try it first on your own to see how it goes. To an old version, you've seen how it is the past 3 months or the past 6 months or the 12 months, and if it's working for you, perfect. But if you feel like I did at the time, where I'm not making the most out of the opportunities I've got, or being able to fulfill the things that I want to do, then perhaps book the call and try it.
You know what? The truth is, it's not just your time, it's your energy and your focus. These are the most important currencies for a CEO and for a human being in general. Your time, your energy, and your focus. And when those 3 things are being taken up with small, itty little bitty things, and they're not being treated the way they should and protected the way they should, you can't tell me you're running and you're optimizing, or you're even close to 100%, and that's the truth. A lot of us don't respect our time. We don't know how to manage our energy. We don't even know how the variables that are destroying our energy and destroying our focus, which is stopping us. Like, did you know, like, you had a different, like, the level you had to you in terms of like how, like I always say, the greatest asset human was given was his mind. The only thing that actually separates us and animals is our aql, right? Our mind, the way Allah has given us, our minds in the way He has, right? Did you know you had that level, like this level to you?
Yes and no. As I knew there was a level, I had no idea what it looked like, no idea what the mindset looked like or what I looked like, right, in physical form. But I knew there's always going to be a level. The big guys, they're not bloody watching YouTube for 2 hours in the evening or wasting time on doing things the way I'm doing them.
Surprised.
Fair enough. But I knew there was something. I knew I needed just guidance more than anything, a direction, because I've got the energy, I've got the drive, the ambition. I just needed a way to kind of push it into,
Okay, and what would you say to a brother right now who's listening, maybe a Tousif, who's on edge right now? He's not sure. He's like, yeah, it makes sense, but still sounds like fluff.
Yeah. I'd say, look, to book the call, just have the conversation, because they speak with yourself anyway, right? So you can truly understand the brother authentically through an actual video call and speak and see if it kind of aligns to you. But like I said before, you probably wasted enough time doing what you're doing. And if you feel like you're not getting the things done that you really want to do, or did you get into the business doing the things that you're currently doing every day, or is there a bigger purpose for you that you kind of have a dream of? If so, then yeah, I'd definitely book the call.
And I suppose one of the last few questions I want to ask you is, was it worth it for you?
Yes, it was 100% worth it for me. There isn't a doubt in my mind to go from being able to work 60 to 70 hours to 10 hours a week required of me, right? I can work more, and I do work more in terms of the growth tasks only. But in terms of what's required of me, like that in itself is just freedom, like for me, because I got into this for financial freedom, but also physical freedom. I left a job because I wanted to travel, I wanted to do things, but I was doing the opposite. I was stuck here for longer hours. And in terms of the growth, it's been exponential in mentally as well, because there were so many blockers mentally in terms of why I couldn't grow. And I think in that initial call, one of the reasons you said, why can't you double your business? Or why can't you get to the next 100K or whatever? And you diagnosed me with the defeatist mindset, I think, at the time, right? And when I reflect on it, I absolutely had that mindset. Now I don't, because I've had the time to reflect and see what the actual hurdles are and overcome them through action. To look back, we were working 7 days a week. Now we're working 5 to 6 days as a team, right? And the hours that I'm putting in, a lot of it generated the money before. Now it doesn't. So it means it's actually a business and it's self-sustaining. And that's what gives me the fulfillment and the happiness. because I've created an organization almost, a being that doesn't need me, right? It's developed and it's doing its own thing and it's making its own profit and its own money through the systems that I've been able to create, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Taib, and I suppose, obviously, we have LBD where we significantly work heavily with the founders, etc. And we also have this side where we work with you in terms of your company OS, and, you know, how was that for you in terms of creating that system and having that, you know, walk through and that system to actually bring yourself out of the company and start to focus on the leverage things in the company to grow? How did you experience that with LBD?
It was, yeah, I mean, it's a bigger picture. That's what you're looking at. And like we've been talking about, it's very easy to get stuck into the short-term picture. Like, why is this quarter going less than the previous one? Why are we making less profit? Why is there less revenue? Or how can we drive more profit? How can we drive more revenue?
Yeah.
But those things can come long-term through having a good company culture and systems in place. But when you're too focused on the short term, it's very easy to forget that. And it feels like fluff once again, right? A company culture and telling people you need a company culture. But you can only really see the value when you go through the exercise and you get to those key points.
May Allah bless you, bro. Honestly, you're a pleasure to work with.
Thank you. Alhamdulillah.
You're one of my favorite clients.
Alhamdulillah.
People give me stick because I say that a lot, but
I say it to everyone.
we've got a lot of clients, and the ones on podcast tends to be my favorite clients. Alhamdulillah. So I ask Allah to bless you and to grant you tawfiq and to ultimately allow you to exponentially grow more and more. I really believe, like, you know, one of the things that, you know, is just I just get so much fulfillment from is just seeing how a human being's life can absolutely just change, like 180, completely change from when they come through LBD and after they're done with LBD. And for me, that's a feeling, I ask Allah, that it never fully wears off, you know?
Yes.
It's amazing. And it's amazing to see how a human being, like what is on the other side of a human being, when he's actually just optimized, you know? And living by design is something that's beautiful. Guys, stay tuned. We're about to drop the LBD 2.0 very, very soon, which is going to be even crazier, which of course you guys will also have access to. But yeah, I ask Allah to bless all of you guys. Listen, if you are a 7 to 8, 9, 10, whatever figure entrepreneur, doesn't really matter. Go on the link and book a call. And bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, like Tousif, like Ustad Imran, like Adam, like Abu Noor, like, you know, all of our other clients have been able to grow in terms of profit and revenue, while also working significantly less hours and increasing all of the areas of their life, the quality of life. Then do yourself a favor and just maybe book a call.
For sure.
Perfect. In that case, bro, Tousif, it was an absolute pleasure.
Pleasure, man.
And ask Allah to bless you. If you have any last words for the camera, please feel free.
Book a call.
I didn't have to say that. So, guys, I'll see you guys in the next one. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. If you're a Muslim entrepreneur doing over 100K a month, you cannot scale using the same system that got you to where you are now. You need to upgrade yourself as a founder. This is the exact same thing we've done for all our clients, and they've been able to 3 all the way to 10x in revenue. So if you would like us to do the same thing for you, then click the link in the description down below now.